Hello fans of SHS Total Access, I'm Marcus here with Tyler and we're your hosts for this week's show.
And we're here at the First Federal Sports Complex.
Hey there, Suwannee High School. This is JK's, and we have a special profile of the week this week. We're here at Suwannee River Water Management interviewing Megan Wetherington, the professional senior engineer here, and Mr. Edwin McCook, the land management specialist. And we've been talking to them about the local flooding, so let's go to that interview. So what effects does the flooding of the river have on the counties and residents?
Well, there's different degrees of flooding. During minor floods, people living in low-lying areas need to be cautious that their campers may flood, that they need to move equipment from sheds. As flooding worsens, increases in severity, we have issues about roads being closed, emergency management issues. People can have difficulty accessing their property. Some people like to canoe in when the property is flooded, but you have to also consider emergency vehicles getting in and out. There's also a burden on the county road departments because flooding damages roads.
Okay, so public land tracts are constantly being closed and reopened due to flooding. Why is it necessary to close these tracts, and what effects does it have on the local communities?
We close district lands during flood events, not to necessarily to people, but we close them to vehicles. One of the reasons is the fact that roads get damaged during a flood event. Periodically, roads will get washed out. When people try to go through the water, they could become stranded. Also, you may go in on a tract of land and the road be high and dry and try to come out 3 or 4 hours later and the road be covered in water. So we have levels that we monitor for each one of our tracts along the river, our high-use tracts, and when they begin to reach a certain level, we begin to make preparations to close to vehicles because that's to keep less damage and try to keep folks safe.
What does the Suwannee River Water Management do during flood situations like the one we are facing? And are there different ways you try to inform the public about the dangers of the floods?
Well, during flooding, there's a lot of information coming from a lot of different agencies. What the district tries to do is put all that together in one convenient place for the public to access, where they're not having to scramble for different pieces of information. So on our webpage, which is at mysuwanneeriver.com, we have a flooding information portal that contains forecasts from the National Weather Service, contact information for local emergency managers, weather information, television stations, information concerning FEMA. If you suffer any damages, there's links to FEMA web pages. We also have a 24-hour-a-day automated river level line where people can call in, get current river levels and current forecasts from the National Weather Service.
And when we close district lands, we typically post it on our website under news flashes. And we also send out press releases to local news outlets. What
advice would you give about the dangers of flooding?
Well, the first thing people should do is be aware of what the rivers are doing. They should know what their nearest forecast gauge is. They should know to check our webpage or give us a call if they have any questions. But also important to know is, when are you affected? When is your road cut off? When do you get water under your house? When do you get road in your house, if that's the case? If you are new to living on the river, one of the best sources of information is your neighbors about when your road gets cut off.
And the same thing, you need to be careful when you're recreating near the river. A lot of times, as I talked about previously, roads get cut off, your access gets cut off. Also, during high water levels, Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission sets no wake zones. When the river reaches a certain level, you should know what those are. During high water, the water is swift. It's very dangerous. You've got a lot of floating debris in the water. Best thing is stay off the water when the river's flooded.
Now let's go to Karson with the interview with Kiera Davis, who recently won a trip to D.C.
Hey y'all, I'm McCook, and for this week's Word at Suwannee High, we interviewed Kiera Davis, who is a student here at SHS and just wanted tours to Tallahassee with the Suwannee Valley Electric Cooperative Tour and wanted a trip to Washington D.C. So let's go see what she has to say about that. Okay, Kiera, so what is the Suwannee Valley Electric Cooperative Tour?
The Suwannee Valley Electric Tour is where students are chosen from different schools to take a test, and then those students automatically go to Tallahassee to have a tour.
How did you win this tour?
Myself, along with another student from my school, were chosen, were nominated by a teacher, and then our counselor chose us.
What was it like to tour the capital of Florida?
It was really fun because that was the first time I had ever been to Tallahassee, and just to visit all the places like the Governor's Mansion and the IMAX Theater was awesome.
How did you win the trip to Washington?
The two students with the highest scores were chosen to go to Washington.
What are you most excited about doing when going to Washington?
I'm most excited about visiting all the places that we're going to visit and meeting new people and flying on a plane.
Okay, well, congratulations on winning the trip to Washington, and I hope you have fun.
Thank you.
Now let's slide into this week's In the Know with TJ and new football coach Willie Spears.
Hello, Suwannee High. We're here with Coach Willie Spears, and we're going to ask him a couple questions. So, Coach Spears, what made you want to come to Suwannee?
To be honest with you, it was this show. I was online on YouTube. I said, man, what a great show. I would love to be at that school. And so I applied for a lot of different positions, and the only one was open was a football coach. So, no, I'm just kidding. It's a great tradition, of course, and the phenomenal support from the community. And I never really wore much green, so I wanted to see how I looked in green. It's really great to be a Bulldog.
That's good. What kind of offense and defensive scheme are you planning on running?
A great question. I bet there's a lot of Florida Gator fans around here. I really don't root for anybody, but we're going to run the Florida Gator offense, very similar. And on defense, I haven't really decided yet. This all happened pretty quickly, and I'm trying to get some coaches in to see what work best with these athletes.
What do you feel your greatest attribute to the team?
Well, I think I'm a good motivator. I don't think I'm the best coach in the world, but we got some great coaches here. Coach Humphreys is doing a great job with the kids already, with the guys already. And so I'm just going to try to motivate them, be a cheerleader, holler, scream, clap, and just have a good time. But motivation is what I bring to the table. I'm a motivated person, and I think that's contagious.
Okay. And with the coaching carousel we've been in lately, what do you feel will help fix the damage?
Two things. I make sure I stay here because it takes time to build a program. And if we can get one of these right here, if we can get one of these, I think that'll make everybody happy. And so that's our goal.
Okay, and you said that you weren't planning on rebuilding. Can you talk a little bit more about what you want to do for the juniors?
Yes, sir. I think if we say we rebuild, then we're saying the upcoming seniors are not going to have a good season because we're rebuilding. I don't think that's fair to them.
Correct.
I think a turnaround can happen very quickly. I think Coach Odom did a great job building the foundation. And so we're just going to add on to what he already put together. So we're not rebuilding, we'll continue to build. And I'm excited about doing that.
There you have it, Suwannee High School. There's your first exclusive look at Coach Willie Spears. We wish him the best of luck.
Sadly, Suwannee High, this concludes this week's show. But I'm Tyler.
And I'm Marcus. Please tune in next week for our next show.